Everyone is growing, changing, and evolving, even you. From the student nurse to the baby nurse, the veteran nurse, off the bedside and into entrepreneurship, you have arrived and you have evolved. This is your host, Keisha, and welcome back to the Evolved Nurse Podcast. Today, intra-op meets pre-op. We have a nurse who is dedicating her platform to helping women feel their best selves during a vulnerable time. Her quote being, bridging healthcare and beauty. We can call her Miss Do-It-All because she does it all. From being the host on Hits 92.3 with her own business, offering services like IV therapy, manual lymphatic drainage, pre- and post-op consultations. She's an author, a speaker, truly a nurse who is passionate about the work that she is doing. Let's welcome Nurse Taye, the BBL nurse, also known as Nurse to Beauty on Instagram, to the Evolved Nurse Podcast.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Girl, so here on the Evolved Nurse Podcast, we always start off with one initial question about whatever profession someone is in.
Okay.
Did you originally want to be a nurse?
Yes, I knew I wanted to be a nurse since the age of like 7. There was nothing else I wanted to be more in this world.
So at 7, what made you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
Well, my grandmother, I spent a lot of time with her growing up. She really was my best friend. And she also was very sickly. So I would be the one that would want to go over there and help take care of her. And I would do like everything, even though I didn't even know what I was doing at the time, I was still helping to the best that I could. And she also would be admitted into the hospital a lot. And I loved going to the hospital. Like I would be in awe seeing the scrubs, the white coats, like all the things. So that's kind of what sparked my interest. And then I felt like if I become a nurse, I can help even take better care of her.
Okay. So when you're talking about nursing, what did your process of getting to nursing look like? Did you start like right out of high school, decide that you wanted to go to college to be a nurse?
Yes. So right out of high school, I started college, and I'm from Tipton, Georgia, by the way. So
Girl, I'm from round the way.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
from
you
round the
are.
way.
Born and raised in Tipton, and I started out at a college called ABAC, if you're familiar with it.
I went there. I knew you looked familiar. I said, this girl looks so familiar.
Yeah.
Where did you go to ABAC, girl?
See, I graduated high school 2008. So I was there probably for 1 year, 2009, I would guess I would say. And I did my prereqs there, and I wanted to get into the program there, but that wasn't his plan. I struggled, and I'll be honest, because in middle school, high school, I was a smart kid. I didn't have to study, right? I would just show up to school, pay attention, ace the test. Well, can I cuss on here?
Girl, go ahead.
College kicked my ass. Like,
girl,
I ain't never seen them type of numbers before behind my name.
When I tell you, I lost hope.
I was like, maybe this ain't for me.
Not only did I lose hope in myself when I was at ABAC, I lost my Hope Scholarship while I was at ABAC.
I think I lost it too. I think I was on probation. Okay, so what happened was I was on probation. I got scared, and I was like, oh no. So I transferred from ABAC to Darton. Now it's all in one. But I graduated from Darton in Alveda, Georgia.
Okay.
So I took a break. I had a hard time passing Anatomy 2. So I took a break, and then I actually pivoted for a second, and I got my CNA. Back then you actually had to go to school. You couldn't just go for a weekend. So I went to Moultrie Tech. I went to Moultrie Tech, got my CNA, and then I started working at a nursing home. So probably like a year after that was when I actually was able to get into the nursing program. I did still graduate at a young age. I graduated at 23. So I had a little bit of a little setback, but it was minor. Like I still finished, within a reasonable time, I would say.
Okay. Girl, when I tell you ABAC did it for me.
Girl, no.
Because I graduated from their biology program.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yes, but I was like, "She looked familiar," but we did not go to ABAC at the same time, but I
Okay.
probably was sure I probably saw you around the way.
Probably so, because I still obviously stay home, and, I just, that taught me I ain't gonna say I'm not as smart as I thought I was, but I had to learn
Mhm.
how to study. I never had to
Yes.
study before. So, with nursing, you can't memorize anything. You have to
Mm-mm.
actually understand. So, I struggled. I had to get a tutor, like, it was
Same.
bad at first, but then, the senior year, oh, I had it, like
When I tell you,
yeah.
yes, that's how it happens, girl. I went from honors classes in high
Mhm.
school, middle school gifted, and then boom, get to college, and it's like nobody's here to tell me what to
Right.
do.
Right. I failed one of the classes in the nursing program, but thank
Mhm.
God I was in a program that had I call them lifelines. Some of them if
Yeah.
you don't pass, you canceled out the whole program. But with
Mhm.
that one, they gave you multiple options, so I was
Mhm.
able to take it again and get right back on track.
So let's get into like your journey in nursing school. So now you have your CNA. Are you working as a CNA at this time?
Yes, I was working at a nursing home at the time.
Okay, so you're working at a nursing home, and then, girl, hold on. You worked at a nursing home in Tifton.
Yeah,
I'm gonna edit this out. Where you worked at?
go to living.
Okay, I worked at Southern Care.
Okay. Go to living, girl. Get to
I edit, girl. I edit this out.
okay.
But so you're, so you're working as a CNA, and now you're in nursing school. So you get to nursing school. What does that look like for you with working and balancing nursing school?
Um, I did my best to try to balance it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually I wouldn't work that much during the week. I would mainly
Mm-hmm.
work the weekends. And because I needed time to study, like I had to learn how to study. So even
Mm-hmm.
though the program I went to, class was only 1 day a week, but they gave you so much stuff to do. Like there was no
Girl.
way you would have everything done and read. I don't see how people did it with families, children, husband, wife. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see because and had to work full time because you have a whole family. I still stayed at home. So now I see, how good I did have it. And I'm glad I did stay home so I could have the
Mm-hmm.
extra support because it wasn't like I had real bills to pay. I was still living with my parents.
Yes, I was literally just talking to my nanny, and she wants to get into a nursing program. And I was like, I said, it's a good thing to be privileged enough to have parents who allow you to stay at home. I said, a lot of these nursing programs aren't geared towards like families and jobs and all of these things. Don't be upset or mad at yourself because you have that privilege.
Mhm.
Utilize it,
Mhm.
because when you feel like you're too old and you decide that you want to, go out, get your own apartment, spend all this money, and then you want to go to nursing school, you pretty much put yourself in a financial bind.
Mhm. Yep. That is true. That is true. Then I did also too. I did take out student loans. I
Girl, yes.
yeah, I did that
Mm-hmm.
thing just enough to survive. I wasn't like some people and got greedy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did the math because I knew eventually, I'm gonna have to
You're
atone
gonna have
for
to
that.
pay it back.
So well,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, um,
Defer, defer, defer. Forbearance.
yeah, all that.
COVID came in at the right time, honey. But yes, so you're in the nursing program. You've like, tell me what it felt like during the time of when you had that first time where it was like, yo, I really might not make it.
Mm, actually, it was fundamentals. Um,
It's always
yeah, they broke
fundamentals.
me down up in there. And now when I look back on it, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
girl, the questions weren't even hard. They just scare you
Mm-mm.
so bad. Like you really be using a calculator to put 1 + 1 because it just don't make no sense. How they
Am I
do it
sure
like
it's
that?
two?
Like for real. So I say the pivotal moment, the first test in fundamentals, I think I made like a 74 or 72.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad, right? But where I went, you had to make a 75. So technically I
Mm-hmm.
failed. Okay, well, I kept being like just borderline, borderline. Long story short is I barely passed the class. When I say I passed it by the skin of my teeth, I did. So
Mm-hmm.
halfway through is when I realized I need to get some help. So that's when I enrolled into a tutor because I knew I didn't have too many times to mess up with this if I wanted to graduate within my deadline and my time.
Okay. And for students who are listening to this, it is okay to get help. I know that we want to think that we can do it all because again, like we already said, in high school, middle school, elementary, we had it. Like we didn't have to study for any of this stuff. And so a lot of times ego plays a big part in why we don't go get help, because we think that we can just get it. Like I might not have it right now, but I can get it later on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need help, go get it. It is okay to have a tutor. I remember the first time I had a tutor and the girl said, "What are you struggling with?" I said, "Test anxiety." She said, "Test anxiety." I said, "Ooh,
It's a thing. It's a real
girl."
thing.
The way she looked at me, at first I really wanted to get upset. I was like, "I really have test anxiety. What do you
Mm-hmm.
mean?" And then I was like, I need to have the level of confidence that she has in herself, in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's when everything changed for me. I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Test anxiety? Give me I got the little billable folder." I said, "Y'all," I talked to my teachers. I was like, "I need the folder." I said, "Anything that moves in the classroom, I'm watching it."
Right. Right.
I'm like, "Oh, they already finished and I'm still sitting here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to speed up because I must be too slow."
No, I would. They would let us record the lectures. So I
Mm-hmm.
would do that. My best study tactic was I realized early on that I memorize it by writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
So literally I would write the whole book. I have notebooks that's like just pages and pages filled of me writing. Highlighting it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't good enough. I had to physically write it and then that it would stick.
Girl, not you rewriting the
Rewrote the
books.
book. Sure did.
You know what? I had a teacher that used to do that. She
Mm-hmm.
said she used to rewrite the book and then she would leave blanks so
Mm-hmm.
that she could go back and fill it in so she could remember.
Mm-hmm. It worked for me.
Oh my goodness. Well, you are here today.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all, if you need to write the book, write the book. You got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
So now, like, you've gone through, your struggle bus season, and now you're back and you're doing great this semester. So it's your senior semester
Mm-hmm.
and you're making all A's because
Mm-hmm.
look,
Yep. That's really what happened.
look, we struggle in the beginning, but at the end we coming for vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you graduate. What did it look like once you entered into the nursing workforce?
Girl, it was like I had to learn all over again.
Because they really don't teach you how to
Yeah,
be a
they don't
nurse.
teach you. They teach you how to pass the boards. They don't teach you how to be a
Mm-hmm.
nurse. So I had a lot of factors involved, obviously, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the South. So
Yeah.
I stayed at Tiff Regional working,
Mm-hmm.
and I really don't know like the easy way to say it, but a lot of discrimination. And I
Yeah.
realized that early on that, I'm being treated different here. It's not because
Mm-hmm.
I'm dumb. It's not because I'm a killer nurse. It's not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's just because y'all don't want to give me the opportunity.
And they make you feel inadequate.
Yes. Yes. Constantly. And how can you express that and explain
Mm-hmm.
that to a room full of people who look nothing like you, who don't
Mm-hmm.
go through the things that you go through? Of course, they're going to think you're overreacting. Of course, you're going to think they're making you deal out everything. They even had me go to anger management one time, and the lady started with
I
me.
know you, girl. And this is something that, like, I feel like it's a trend in every one of my podcasts that I have with women who look like us and we all go through this similar situation. And us being from the South, girl, when I had clinicals,
Mm-hmm.
you saw no Black people on the unit.
Right? Right?
None. Then I moved here to Jacksonville, and I'm gonna edit that out.
Okay.
I moved here and literally only Black people and Filipinos on night shift.
Mhm.
All the day shift is white.
Wow.
So even, and this is not to say anything bad about my director, she was doing what she felt was best for her career, not being the liaison that she should be in management. When I first went to her, girl, she was like, we have to be 10 times better than them.
Mhm.
And I look at her, at first I'm like, you know what, that's a true statement.
Yeah.
Because we've been hearing that all our lives. And then I take a step back and I say, well, why do I have to show up as 110% and they can show up as 50%?
Mhm.
And you're micromanaging what I do. They can be the bare
Mhm.
minimum.
Mediocre at
Literally the
best
bare
and be
minimum.
just fine in life. We're not the same.
But and it is so sad, and it felt very sad coming from someone who looked like me, because that meant that you're not going to respect what I say.
Yeah.
You don't, it doesn't even matter what I say to you, because what you're doing is trying to, keep your bed close.
Yep. You're so right.
So you're in South Georgia working as a nurse, feeling inadequate. How did that translate in you moving forward?
Well, I would say even though I had my feelings about where I started, I actually, you
Mhm.
know what? I'm not going to say I want to change that part of it because it made me
Mhm.
who I am today as a woman and as a nurse. I am so strong. Like you can't say, can I cuss again? You
Girl,
can't
yeah.
say shit to me on the floor. I
Mhm.
know what I'm doing. I also have the balls to stand up to anyone and not care about the consequence if I
Mhm.
know that I know what I'm talking about, or I need to address something and you're dismissing me, I have no problem giving that back to you. Even when it comes to patients, because I had to deal with that with patients as well. I could tell your skin would crawl when you saw me come into the room and realize that I'm your nurse. I'm still going to give you great care, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to let you make me feel any less than because of it. So I moved away because I knew that I would not be to the full potential of what I am if I stayed there.
Mhm.
However, I appreciate, the things that I did go through because it made me very strong. When I was a new grad, I was meek, I was mild, I would
Mhm.
cry all the time. I cared if everybody liked me at work. Now it's up with anybody. Like I don't care, bro. I'm literally here to keep these patients alive, give the best care
Mhm.
I can give, and you're not gonna make me feel any less than.
Yes, girl, and talk about the nursing voice that you have to develop
Oh
during those
yeah.
times.
Yeah. We have
Like,
two voices, right? Not only do we have to know when to stand up and stick up
mhm,
for a patient, but we also have to stand up against the lateral violence or the passive
girl.
aggressiveness. And I call it out now. I'm not finna do none
Mhm.
of that. I'm gonna beat you to HR. You're not gonna beat me.
Girl, when I tell you my fingers be typing, like
No.
you know
I'm
how
gonna
you
start
look at
crying
some
in
people
somebody's office,
keyboards.
not you.
You know how you look at some people keyboards and like the letter's
Yep.
gone. That's me. That's me every time. I'm like, you said what?
Yeah. Yeah.
You did.
Oh.
Girl, on my last podcast, I talked about how, I didn't want to come off as the angry Black woman on the first day of my job.
Mhm.
But a lady said something racist. And I was like, okay, I don't want to seem like that person. And she did it again. And then she did it again. I was like, all right.
Oh,
But
no.
you
An
know
employee or
what?
a patient?
It was an
Oh,
employee, girl.
no.
Apparently she had been doing this. So what ended up happening was karma and God came in and took her up out the job.
That's what I'm talking about.
She ended up being in her uniform out in the public, and she ended up calling the girl the N-word. They caught it on camera, girl. She got
Girl, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
girl,
talking about.
girl, she got fired, and then they tried to keep it hush hush. They was like, it's so sad that she had to leave like this. And I was
Mhm.
like, who, y'all? And they
No.
said her name. I said, oh, I'm not surprised.
No.
They
What
was like,
last
she was such a good worker. I said, oh, she was?
Really? That's cute.
Really?
Mhm.
Really? Because to the Black patients, the girl, the Russian patients, to any patient that wasn't white American,
Mhm.
she was treating them any kind of way. And around me, it's not going to happen. So,
Exactly.
girl, yes, the keys on the keyboard are wiped clean
Yep.
when I'm typing to HR.
Yep. As
And
it should be.
the director that allowed that to happen was walked out this year.
Good.
Mm, 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 mm.
Good. Good.
Girl, yes. So now you move to Atlanta,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so, in Tifton, were you on a med surge unit?
No, I was ER surprisingly.
Okay, so you were ER. Oh, okay.
They had to. Look, I
Okay.
had to be the one sprinkle. They had to.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl, they got rid of that this year.
What, new grads?
No, they got rid of affirmative action.
Oh,
Mhm.
I didn't know.
So they may not have to allow one of us on the unit.
Mm.
But they always have that one that they feel like is safe until we speak up for ourselves and then we're unsafe.
Yeah.
So you're ER in Tifton, you moved to Atlanta, and now where are you?
Do you
Specialty
mean
wise.
specialty, right? So
Mhm.
the base of my nursing career has always been ER.
Okay.
Yeah, so I fell in love with it once I got the hang of it, and I never wanted to do anything else. Now I've dibbled a little bit. I've done some
Mhm.
PACU. I currently do PRN hospice.
Mhm.
So I experiment, but I like the flow of the ER because I don't like taking care of the same person every single day.
Mhm.
Like I like, switching it up. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Now that I'm an
Okay.
entrepreneur, but when I came to Atlanta, yes, I was still an ER nurse. And then I did travel nursing for 6 years, still ER.
Okay, girl. Look, this is an extensive amount of nursing
Mm-hmm.
experience here on this
Oh,
podcast
thank
right
you.
now. Okay. So we're going to pivot into your entrepreneurship
Okay.
because we've talked about, college years. We know what your background looks like as far as, being a CNA, coming into being a nurse in the ER, and then moving and doing all of the other things that you've done. So many magnificent things in the midst of going through all the obstacles that you have. You are here now.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about your entrepreneurship journey, I said intra-op meets pre-op, but you do pre-op and post-op consultations. What led you into pivoting into entrepreneurship as a nurse?
All right. So as everybody know, COVID fucked us all up.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I did went on tour. I went everywhere. Went to New York. I went to back to California, and I went to Texas twice. And
Mm-hmm.
I was isolated, obviously, from my family and friends, and I got real depressed. So I remember being in a hotel in Texas, and I'm just like, I got to figure something out. This is not it. I became a nurse because I'm a care and nurturing person, but I've lost my compassion. So
Mm.
it was finally time for me to go, and I wasn't coming back. I made sure I'm like, I am not going to do this again. So when I went home, I scheduled me to have some lipo
Mm-hmm.
360, and I flew to Miami. I had the surgery. It was a totally different world or experience for me. Even though I'm a nurse, it was so many things I did not know. I didn't understand. I didn't even have my right supplies. I mean, I just go down the line of the things that I did not do right. And I thought to myself, if I'm a whole nurse and I didn't know any of this stuff, imagine the person that books the surgery who doesn't have a medical background. They're probably
Mm-hmm.
even more confused. So, as I did my research at the time, there were not many nurses doing it. So, I went and got training for it, and then that's how the business started. My own
Okay.
experience.
Okay. So because I am in the OR, so I see these things. I'm a witness to what happens while you're asleep. I'm the advocate that's there for you while you're asleep. There are times where I see patients on the table and they're not being treated right.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have seen a botched breast reduction surgery. And I'm like, I'm reporting you. So there are certain things that we see in the OR that most people don't see
Mm-hmm.
because essentially you're sleeping. You can watch it on TV all day long, but
Mm-hmm.
until you see it like up close and personal, you
Mm-hmm.
have no idea what happens in that OR while you are,
Yep.
resting.
Yep. Yep.
And so when I saw that you the BBL nurse,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when I saw that you had taken the time to develop education for people who were going and having procedures, that was actually something that I thought of after like Jackie O had passed away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I saw that, I was doing some plastic surgeries
Yeah.
in Savannah on my travel contract. And I stopped and I asked the surgeon, I was like, so I saw something that's going on in social media. And how long would you say that someone who is a recent mom have surgery after they've had the baby? And he was like, safely, I would say they need to come in a year after.
Correct.
And I was like, so I said, so I'm currently breastfeeding. I said, so if I decide that I want to go and have like a breast lift or anything done on my breast, what would you recommend? He was like, if you're breastfeeding, you need to wait 6 months to a year. And he was like, and that's something that we like to do as a safety precaution. Now, with that being said, when you see some of these clinical sites or like outpatient surgery centers that do plastic surgeries, are they educating people on that? Because I've never gone through that process. I only know how they educate you when you're doing it in the hospital.
Not at all. Only to a certain extent are they doing the education, which is why I go so hard with my education and my business.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I had to let a client know something and they had no clue. And I was like, my surgeon didn't say anything about that. Now, when it comes to who can and cannot have surgery, yes. Even though it's such a wild time right now and the negative
Mm-hmm.
connotation, and yes, some surgery centers appear to be just not caring. At the end of the day, nobody wants a death on their record, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that part, what I say is always two sides to that story when you hear something like that happening. What I know
Mm-hmm.
now, being in this
Yeah.
business long enough, is this is more to the story than, oh, Dr. So and so killed this doll. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. Because more than likely they probably didn't even pass away during the surgery. It happened at home days later. Now
Mm-hmm.
I got
Mm-hmm.
questions like, did you have a child? Did you tell the truth about your medical history? You'll
Yes.
be surprised at the things clients will leave off just so they can
Mm-hmm.
have the surgery.
Yes, so that is what, cause I had an old podcast and I deleted that whole podcast and revamped and did this one, and I did an episode over the Jackie O situation, so I went pretty deep into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then found out she had heart issues that she didn't disclose, but
Mm-hmm.
and then the fact that that she was so fresh off of
Mm-hmm.
having a child. And you have these insecurities, you want to change them, but you have to let your body heal before you can't go through having a baby, cuz that is something that is hard on your body.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while to bounce back. It takes a while for your organs even to settle again so that you can feel normal. Girl, my stomach still feel like it's not.
Yeah.
Like my organs still a little shaky in there. So when you go through these things, I think it's really, really irresponsible. But because you're feeling like the pressure of society, or you're feeling like, you don't feel comfortable in your body because you just had a baby, you got to let your body heal a little bit before you go and do something that's going to take your body back out of a healing state.
Yeah. Yeah.
So girl, you offer so many services. You just keep tacking them on. You like,
Yes,
I'm gonna do
child.
this, I'm gonna do that. And that's why we call her Mrs. Do It All.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what made you want to add on IV therapy and all of these other things to your repertoire?
So the main dream or vision of
Mm-hmm.
my brand is to be a med spa. I actually want to be
Okay.
my own franchise one day and have multiple
Mm.
locations, multiple cities, even be international. So I just slowly add on services that takes me more to that aesthetic spa type of clientele. So once I
Okay.
master one thing, then I add on something. I do not I do not try to do too many new things at once because I've learned like it's
Mm-hmm.
just not going to work. You really have to nurture the craft. Even though I know how to start IVs, but I'm taking on the craft of marketing and things like that. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to create the right audience for the right. So some of the IV hydration is not tailored to post-op. Or some
Mm-hmm.
of them can't even get it because they're already in fluid overload. So now I'm tapping into a new market and
Mm.
I'm learning what works for me within that market.
And I love that for you because, like, you're looking at this person holistically, like we should as a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like we're just giving IV therapy because somebody said they wanted it.
Mhm.
But are we looking at all the factors that they have going on in order to be able to administer this safely?
Mhm. Which is why they
So
made the
to
changes and everybody's in the frenzy.
girl, okay, so what changes did they make? Because I'm not in that industry. So
Okay.
let me know. Fill
So,
me in.
yeah, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up and then make it simple for the lay people.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, initially when I started doing the IV hydration or any business, what you needed was a medical director, obviously, because if you're
Mm-hmm.
placing something in one, you got to have an order for it, right? And then we use what we call standing orders, protocol orders. Every specialty, every floor has them. This happens, this is what you do. If a client comes in with these type of symptoms, this is what you do. You discuss it between you and your medical director, and then you formulate that on paper and you make it official and you go by those guidelines. And the director would have to sign off on 70% of your charts. You had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of autonomy with that because you didn't have to bother the doctor too much. You kind of used your own nurse's judgment. Well, what has happened is that the people's nursing judgment has not been the best. It has caused major complications with some people. Some are understanding that you do have to ask certain questions, or yes, you can put someone into overload, or you can give them too many IVs back to back, within a week's time. You have to space those things out. So anytime laws change, a sentinel event or something serious has happened, then it's probably happened multiple times. So I attribute it to that. And then too, you know how it is when they see opportunities coming and people finding other ways to not be in the hospital, they try to block it. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's half and half. So what the changes are is standing orders are no longer valid.
Mm.
You have to have a full exam, H&P, med screen by an NP or MD before doing any IV drip on anyone, and they have to have their own order for it, not a universal standing order. Meaning if
Mm.
you came to me one IV, I would literally have to tell the doctor to write an order in your name under my business, under our chart for you to have an IV. They're just you're making it have to go through extra steps,
Jump through
which
hoops.
makes the doctor more involved, which is not what we
Mm-hmm.
want. You know what I mean? For business purposes. And it's just not going to be as 1, 2, 3 easy. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
process now. So in my mind, it may not be as simple anymore as somebody walking in and saying, I need an IV. You may have to wait 24 hours before you can get that drip that you booked.
Okay, so does that mean like now you have where you did have to pay the medical director, you
Mhm.
now have to pay that medical director and the doctor? Is that what you're saying, like business wise?
Well, yeah, so the medical director has to be a doctor. The person
Okay.
who doing the assessment can be a nurse practitioner. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
more people are going to have to be involved in your business. Now, if you are not a nurse practitioner yourself owning the business, I am not. So yes, I will have to incorporate an NP now in my practice to do those
Mm-hmm.
orders for me.
Okay. Does it have to be someone in your state or can it be outsourced?
I believe that they have to be licensed in your state. Yeah.
Okay. So it's so many questions I have. So can they do these HMPs virtually or do
Yes,
they have to see them in person?
they can
Okay.
be virtual. It can be telehealth.
Okay. So it's not bad that they're implementing all of this because I see so many times where, stuff can go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, people have
But
to
then
step
it's
up.
like catch 22 because like we have seen, and this has nothing to do with medicine, but we've seen in the Airbnb business where you see so many people like learning how to be their own bosses. And now you move the goalpost and you continuously move the goalpost. So now like we do see where because predominantly what I'm seeing is we're learning how to create our own med spas and
Mhm.
having our IV hydration businesses and all of these things. And so we are marketing ourselves on social media, which shows that we're saturated.
Mhm.
So they're like, "Hey,
Mhm.
they making what type of money?"
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
like it, they don't like it, they don't like it, and it's already a shortage in the hospital setting, and now all of us who've been through COVID, we tired, we trying to figure something else out.
Girl.
So, yeah,
Yes.
they're a little pressed about it. So, but the thing is, if you know your industry, right, I saw this coming. I saw it
Mm-hmm.
coming. I don't know why
Just like
everybody's
traveling.
yes, I don't know why everybody's acting so surprised because things change and evolve through healthcare. I'm pretty sure at some
Mm-hmm.
point they're gonna make more regulations for the industry that I'm in with post-op care because right now, do you know anybody can have a post-op business? You don't have to have a medical background. You
Mm.
could have used to did notary and now you're starting doing post-op care. It's a very gray area.
And with that being said, like that is dangerous
So I know what's
because
coming.
yeah, they're gonna put more rules and regulations in place, and I'm not mad at them for doing that with post-op care because, like we've seen so many times, people go to these post-op houses. They don't have nurses, they don't have doctors, PAs, nobody,
Mhm.
and sometimes those women don't make it out because they're not being like they are being treated. Don't get me wrong, because some of these people are doing what they were trained to do.
Mhm.
But understanding it on a holistic level, like seeing certain symptoms and not being able to understand what's happening to this person, those are some things that probably need to be regulated.
Yep. Yep.
I don't, you don't like regulation, but when you're in the profession that we're in, you like that need to be a little
Yeah, I'm
regulated.
like, it is what it is. Just when you were saying that, I'm like, I'm mad at who messed it up. Because
Regulated.
somebody messed it up for us.
Yes, because like what you know, like you know what you're looking at when you look at it, but somebody who doesn't have the same degree or eye that you have for healthcare, because being in the ER, you have to critically think.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be sitting back. Not saying that med surg nurses aren't critical thinkers, but we know that for them it's very task based.
Mm-hmm.
So while they're taking care of tasks, if something pop off, it's a little hard.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at something and you're constantly like, they look a little swollen, but you sitting there
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to figure it out, but us like being critical care nurses, like we like, hold on. Okay, so it's time that we do something.
Yeah.
So with that being said, girl, oh my goodness, the regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Okay. So we're pivoting out of like seeing what the regulations are, your IV business. Is there anything that you want to add to your services?
Oh, absolutely. So again, I want to evolve to a full med spa. So Botox
Mm-hmm.
fillers, PRP, all of those things, everything aesthetic is what I want to be able to offer and provide.
And what did she say? Bridging healthcare to beauty, because that's
Yes.
what she is doing.
Yes.
And what would you say to someone who has a similar aspiration to you and having their own med spa and doing certain things in a way in which you're doing it? How did you get here?
First of all, do your research, know the laws in your
Mhm.
state, know what you can do with whatever, career path you have, and
Mhm.
then educate yourself. Never be afraid to stop to continue to learn. Excuse me. I'm always learning something. To date, I probably serviced over 200 clients, but I still
Mm.
learn something new, and when I encounter something, and I will never forget it. I'm still always learning. I love what I do, so I want to be somewhat of a novice, an expert in
Mhm.
it. So I would say if you feel like you know what you want to do, first of all, you want to be legal. So look at the laws in your state and figure out what all you have to do, and then just go for it. Just start studying. Don't be afraid to start. That's the thing. Like people say they want to do
Mhm.
stuff, but you're afraid to start. How many times it's gonna be 5 years and you still talking about what you want to do? Do it. It's not gonna be
Girl.
perfect. I was very ghetto in my business starting out. I mean, it was so much I didn't have. Like my website was embarrassing. Like you know what I mean?
But it was
It was something. Okay, just do it. You're never gonna grow if you don't start. Excuse me.
And I love that you say that because, girl, you are preaching to the choir. It's somebody out there that's like, yeah, I'm going to get in there. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And they have great ideas.
Hmm.
They have a great dream, but a dream without a
That's right.
plan is what?
That's right.
You have to get out there and do it. So if you are dreaming and you want to go and have your own med spa, or if you want to be a nurse, or if you want to be an NP, a nurse anesthetist, anything that you want to be, go for it. Because if you don't put your foot out there to try,
Mhm.
you never know what you can accomplish. All you can say is, I thought about it.
You are so right.
Yes, so we are nearing the end of this episode, and I am so glad that you came onto this podcast. I truly appreciate you for coming on here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was very fun, very interactive. We bounced off each other. We kind of know each other. We didn't even know it.
We don't even know each other, but we know each other.
So thank you again for having me on this platform.
You are so welcome. What is a piece of advice that you would give to new nurses?
New nurses, I would say, well, shoot the stars, man. Don't think that you have the end all be all is working at a hospital on a goddamn floor. There's so many things that you can do with your nursing career that I didn't even know could be done. Still learning. Understand that you are way more than bedside. Get your experience and then really figure out what you want to do with that degree.
And that was a good one, y'all. That was a word. And that's what y'all need to understand is, like, I have somebody who never went bedside at all and has a thriving career. So y'all, do what feels best for you in your nursing career. Where can they find you?
All right, so you can find me on social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Nurse to Beauty. That's nurse number 2 beauty. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Nurse to Beauty, or you can check my website out at www.nurse2beauty.com.
Okay, and do you have any upcoming events or anything that you want to shout out?
Well, I have been making some moves. So I landed my first partnership with my business with Crunch Fitness. Oh, goodness. So I will be posting up at their gym in my area 3 times a month. I will be doing more teaching of how to do post-op care properly. That is upcoming in the future. And I will be a keynote speaker at a nursing workshop in November.
Okay. All right. So y'all, please go and follow Nurse Taye. She is doing all the things. Like I said, she is Mrs. Do It All. We don't have enough 24 hours in a day, but she make it work. She makes it work. But again, if you have made it to the end of this episode, thank you so much for coming through and listening to us. If you have any questions, go over to @TheEvolvedNurse on Instagram. You can follow us, and also you can email any questions you have to oh my goodness, I got something in my eye. TheEvolvedNurse@gmail.com. And you can also follow our Facebook group, Nurses Evolving, on Facebook. Y'all have a great day. This was a good podcast. I hope y'all made it to the end, because the nuggets that she dropped, y'all can start a business today.
Period.
Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you.